Welcome to the Martial Arts Business Success. We're at episode number 119 and we're at a two-part series here about maximising...
Four parts.
Well,
this is part two.
Part two, I'll get it right. Part two on a four-part series. There we go. Jeez.
That's why there's two of us.
About maximising your assistant instructor. So, mate, since you're the man with all the knowledge, bring it to us, buddy.
Let's just make sure we're up to speed, because the last podcast we spoke about is what happens before class. What an assistant should be doing before class. So if you want to know about that, go listen and watch the video and podcast and get those tips and tools on what we believe the assistant instructor should be doing before class.
For sure.
This particular episode here, the second one in this four-part series,
I gotcha.
got me, is all about during class. And we're actually going to spend a little bit of time during class, sort of like, because that's predominantly where your assistant's going to be.
Yeah. So
there's going to be a couple of episodes in during class. But I think the best thing and most important thing that we could sort of give an overall view of an assistant is to be a good finder.
Man, look, when you first start assisting, you first start helping, you want to just correct and improve everything. You've got this super sensei mode, which quite often enough happens. Sometimes when students are trying to help, but they don't have the tools yet to honestly motivate and inspire and correct in the proper way, you can do more damage than good. So what we tend to do is say, guys, all your mission is to go and find the good things that people are doing and praise that, give acknowledgement for that, both from a kid's but also an adult point of view as well too.
Can I just sort of give some context for these guys and you can elaborate? When you mean be a good finder, that means to go find the good and not pick up all the bad.
For sure, like, be a good finder. Like, man, I'm so proud to have you here today, Phil, in class. Or that's a phenomenal guard you have. That's a brilliant push kick. Wow, what effort, what power. However we want to group that, depending. Man, I love your focus if there's a kid.
Rather than going, that's a bad guard, or you need a better stance.
Let's just say, for example, let's just say I have the most rubbish guard in the world, when or the worst stance, or whatever it is.
You do that quite well, Graham.
It's more about just going, man, I love your effort. I love how hard you're trying. I love the fact that you are willing to be here and improve yourself. That's being a good finder, because often we focus and we find 10 things that are wrong. But that's the thing is that, see everything, correct a little when the time comes, and praise a lot.
Yes.
These guys aren't at the stage of correcting. They're only at a stage of praising, and that's a really good place to be, because the only things generally are going to come out of their mouth are really great, motivating, inspiring things.
Yep. I think you've got an acronym for this. What is it, Graham? In the instructors at PIMP, or?
We've got a few of them. We've got PCP, which is praise, correct, praise, but that's also mainly for an adult, because a correction can be sometimes a negative term. And the funny one that we came up with, PIMP, which is praise, improvement, and then praise again. So offer suggestions about improvements, not necessarily that correction. And again, it's amazing what language does when you have students, especially younger guys, we're talking about delivering improvements. That means they're at a good standard, but here's how you improve and get it better. A correction is something you're doing wrong, and we have to swap that for something. Even though you're making an improvement, you see what I'm sort of saying here?
Yep.
It's mainly making sure the young guys know that they're there to offer improvement strategies, not just complete correction, like, wrong, no, you're terrible. So again, going back to it, stage one of this process on the floor is to be a good finder. And sometimes, for some people, that is a challenge.
Yep.
That is a challenge, and they have got their eyeballs out and see everything wrong. So it's a really great place.
Wrong.
It's a really great place to be in, about being able to identify that, communicate really well. For those who are shy, it's a great way to break the ice and just getting them to say, hey man, wow, it's great to have you on the floor.
Yep. And something that will couple nicely on with being a good finder is sort of the next strategy that we want our assistants to be, is a power mover. We want the assistants, and let me just go back. What we don't want our assistants to do is be standing on one spot the whole time and, be too shy or not confident enough to go in there and help out. So being a power mover is almost like being that shark in the water.
Yeah.
A shark does not stop. It will keep swimming non-stop. So a power mover is someone who's going to move around the class, get to almost everyone as many times as possible, and while doing that, be a good finder and give that great feedback to people. Is
For
that
sure.
right?
Oh, look, well and truly. The great thing about being that power mover is getting the instructors and the assistant instructors comfortable with being at all areas of the class. For example, traditionally, the main instructor is out the front.
Yep.
Whoa. And when doing a drill, most of the assistants hang at the back.
Yeah.
So having them not just live at that spot and actually move towards the front and help to offer some great sort of positive reinforcers, being that good finder, like I said, it's a great way to get them used to being in that more of that prime time position as well too. So subconsciously they're getting out of their comfort zone and getting up the front as well too. Now, this stuff, I guess, the reason for talking about maximise the assistant instructors is, Phil, this all came about with some conversation dialogue we had recently with the instructor program that we ran here.
Yep.
And the guys who came from both the East Coast but also Perth-based schools were just saying your assistants and your instructors and everything in between all flowed seamlessly, and they were gobsmacked at how well it worked. They said everyone knew their place. So this is important to really make sure, and I said this on the last edition of this podcast series, was everyone needs to know their expectations and their allowance of what they can do. So they need to know that they can basically, go and speak and praise and have some fun. All right, for you guys who are watching this, I got to add it to you. Listening on this, you're on the recorded version. We've also got a live version going at the moment. Phil's got his own cup, #Phil Britton, and I don't. So he's just quite happily letting me know that he's got one up on me for one. So next edition, you'll see I probably have an entire jug series, #Graham McDonald. Anyway, continue. Little things that let us have some fun in our days. So look, seriously guys, maximising your instructors on the floor, get them as a power mover, be that good finder. These may seem like trivial little roles, but what I'm doing is I'm giving them the ability to be that communicator on my behalf. I'm allowing them to move around and interact seamlessly with the students. Being that good finder doesn't just limit you to just words. Having that physical contact that's appropriate, some knuckles, pats on the backs. And what I want to also reiterate, this isn't just kid focused. I want this to be adult focused as well too.
100%. And going off the last podcast when we spoke about the kids being able to, kids and adults and assistants being able to go off and talk to the parents and the students to the class that's coming up. If you're a power mover, that's very, very easy as well. Because you're moving around the floor everywhere. You're sort of, as the people who've come over to do our instructor course, by the way, we only hold that one there 2 times a year. It's already had one a couple of weeks ago. So later on this year, we'll have another one. Make sure you reach out if you're interested in coming. It's a killer instructor development weekend. You will definitely not regret coming. But what they were saying is that it's seamless, and that's what the guys do. They move around, power mover. They're like these sharks. And for the experienced assistant, I would not even really miss them off the floor if they were off for 30 seconds a minute talking to a parent or the next class coming, because that power mover has been moving around all class, and just by stepping off for 30 seconds a minute to talk to a parent has massive value in it. Equal amount of value is him being on the floor.
Yeah, for sure.
And even if that instructor does come off for 30 seconds a minute, the rest of the assistants will take place. So that's why it's so seamless. Like, everyone's got a part, but everyone's already willing to play another part if needed as well. Yeah,
look, and what you got to remember too, Phil, is depending on the level of the assistant instructor. Now, some schools, they got one assistant and that's it. They do all the roles. We're fortunate we've got developing assistants, we've got paid assistants, we've got quite high level ranking assistants. That is, they're like the 2IC to the program. They're not the lead yet. But by being that good finder and that power mover, they're able to walk off and then leave the kid when the time comes, the class is finished, with that great enjoyment, that great pat on the back, that great praise, which we're going to be talking about again in the latter parts of this series here. But it's still making sure that you're able to really sell that benefit, sell that praise, which is, at the end of the day, guys, it is priceless.
Absolutely. So is there anything else in sort of this second part of the 4-part series, even though we're going to be talking and elaborate a little bit more on class, that evolves or revolves it around being a good finder and power mover that the viewers, the listeners can sort of implement?
Look, it's definitely, to be honest with you, as they start moving in and interacting with students. You may have someone who's a spare body on the floor, for example. That is, there's not enough partnering, so that the assistant has to jump in. Being able to partner with that person, be that really good finder in that sort of sense, being that praise, praise machine, if you want to call it that, is really, really helpful as well too. This stuff, I can't reiterate, although no matter what role they play, whether they're just cruising around, whether they're partnering with somebody, where they have a specific role that they're looking for on that particular day, it's something that is really important. I guess one of the other reiterated points here is knowing what they can and can't do. Like I talked about these points, we have a music monitor or a music representative that when the assistant or the instructor is talking, or we've stopped the drill and they bring it in, they straight away run off and they turn the music on or they turn it off, depending on the situation at hand. So that is something that some schools don't do. They don't even have music playing, or they have it just continually playing. There's never that ebbs and flows, those peaks and troughs. I suppose it's you doing a lot of public speaking, Phil. They talk about different tonality and volume, and that's also impactful to make sure when the drills are on, that music needs to play. The assistants know to turn it up. When the instructor wants to be heard and wants to give some clear instructions, they run over and they turn it down. So again, that's another great way. Give them a role, give them some responsibility, and they can have a lot of fun with that as well.
Yeah. Totally agree. And I think one of the keys to all this, it's all good to give you the tips, it's all good to teach them to your assistants, but if you don't give them feedback, if you're not assessing them, if you're not trying to improve them as well, utilizing the same techniques as we're talking about, then how are they going to get better? So that's where the instructor training comes in. That's where, actually we have set assessment forms. So guys, if you want some assistant instructor or instructor assessment forms, you actually get that absolutely free when you sign up for the free martial arts bootcamp or part of the martial arts TIMA mastermind for $1 trial. So if you're interested in getting the assessment sheets, let us know. We can get them to you ASAP. Shoot an email to us, admin@tima.com.au, or head to our website if you're keen to jump on the TIMA Mastermind and be a part of an awesome community. Graham, have you got anything to finish with these guys?
Look, guys, there is a ton of really great stuff there. As you said, Phil, feedback is really important. That's a whole process that we do. Inspiring them to be a good finder is one thing, but if they're not quite on point, how do you make sure that they level up to that level? And that's through feedback on a continual basis. Some is self-reflection feedback, and other is definitely done by the lead instructor. So we'll explain that a little bit more as we go. But guys, look, this is just a taste test of how to maximize your crew while on the floor. Next time around, we're really going to talk about in this next series coming up about that awareness process, so that they're not just being on the floor, they're now really being quite conscious and really making impact on your class as well.
That's right. Also, just the last thing, guys, to shout out, we have late last year we created a martial arts business owners only, you have to be the owner of the business, closed Facebook group. And that way it's just another place where business owners can get together and have a chat about business owner stuff, and not have maybe managers or just instructors that are involved in that group. There are many martial arts groups out there, and I think what we tried to create is just a very direct group that is specifically for business owners, so we can address those real issues that we face and not have anyone else in that group. So if you are a business owner, if you want to jump on board on that, just go to Facebook and search Martial Arts Business Owners, and you put yourself in there for a request, and we'll see if you get in.
Cool, guys. Well, look, number 2 down. We've got 2 more to go. We'll see you on the flip side, and we'll catch you on the very next podcast. Ciao.